what would you say you wish people would understand better about the weight of being a caregiver?
One thing I think that you should never, ever tell anyone who is a caregiver, please don't tell them they're a strong person. That is, you might think that you're trying to encourage them, but you're adding pressure.
Yeah.
Because now they feel like, just because Judy has said I'm a strong person, now I cannot let her down. So I have to pick it up. I have to look like my face is strong. I have to look like everything is fine. But inside, you're dying every single minute. So I know that when people say it, they say it with good intention. But please don't tell someone that they're a strong woman or they're a strong man. Just appreciate what they're doing, but don't use the word strong.
I have a lady and she's taking care of her mom. I guess all her siblings are doing good. So yeye ndo amedelegatiwa as the caregiver of the mom and sort of forgotten. She's sharing with me the story. The last time she made her hair was, I think, 2023. Everybody brings resources to the mom, but nobody remembers her. Nobody asks what is going to be her future or anything. Everybody just focuses on the mom. Nobody wants to be forgotten.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know they have some value in this world. But in caregiving, you're so engrossed in this person that you forget yourself.
Hi guys, how are you doing today? Welcome back to our channel. In today's episode, I'm having a conversation with two amazing women who have found themselves as caregivers for their loved ones. So we are talking about what that really means, the weight of it, and how they take care of themselves while taking care of the people that they love. So please, a round of applause for these two wonderful women. Drum roll, makofi kwao, yay! Ruby and Fiona, karibuni sana.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today. And please allow me to say this. Fiona here came all the way from Nakuru, guys. She came all the way from Nakuru to have this conversation with us. Thank you so much. Mungu akubariki.
Thank you too.
That is such a sacrifice. Kuingia kwa matatu 6 asubuhi ndio ukuje mpaka Nairobi ndio ukuje tuketi hapa tuongee, and then she still has to go back to Nakuru after our conversation today. Thank you so much. We really don't take that for granted. Ruby, karibu sana.
Asante.
Allow me to introduce you. Is it not to introduce? You will introduce yourself, but allow me to say this as well.
Okay.
You've had me talk about Centonomy for a long time. I think it's been like 2 years now working together, right? Yes.
If not more.
Yeah,
around 2 years, actually.
Yes. And in Centonomy, there are two programs that they offer. So one is on Centonomy 101, which is the personal finance class. And then there's the Centonomy entrepreneurship program. So Ruby, right here, is actually the person in charge of the Centonomy entrepreneurship program. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Mimi napenda wanafunzi. Wanabiashara lazima wakuje tusome. Lazima.
Kabisa.
Nataka mu excel kabisa.
Exactly. So these are fantastic women with us today, and I'm truly honored. Yeah, but I will please allow me to start with some introductions. I will ask you to please introduce yourself. So Fiona.
Hello, I am Fiona Wamoyo, 37 years old, and my mom. My daughter is 10 years old. She turned 10 years this year. Then I'm also a caregiver for my mom and my brother Joseph. A lot of people know Joseph on TikTok. Yeah. So yes, and I'm also running a small crochet art business. And yeah, I'm pleased to be here.
Yay! And your age mates, by the way.
Yes.
I'm also 37, turning 38 in November this year. Yes, age mates. And you've had Fiona mention TikTok. So if you're on TikTok, surely you must have come across. Yes. Fiona Wamoyo. Yes. Please follow her. I will make sure up on the description box I've left all their contact details so that you can talk to them directly. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Ruby?
Okay, my name is Ruby Wanjiro Njonjo. First, I'm an encourager, as in God has given me that heavy burden to encourage people, and I don't take it lightly. I'm also a mom to two amazing children. I'm a partner, I'm a marketer, and a fun-loving person.
It's so interesting because I actually didn't know you were a mom.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. I have two children. The first one is turning 12. The second one turned 9.
Awesome. We learn about each and
Every day.
Yes.
Every day.
Yeah. So I will just get into now the conversation of the day, because we're here to talk about caregiving and caregivers, and especially when you're not a professional, because we have professional caregivers. That is what they've studied. That is what they do as a career. But now in your case, you just happened to find yourself in that space. Yeah. So I'm curious to hear, when did you first realize that you were stepping into the role of a caregiver? So, Ruby, you can go first.
Wow. So for me, I think the realization came later. But my former partner was sick. And I mean, think about it in a scenario where one day we've woken up, we're going to work. We used to work for a mother company, so our offices weren't too far apart. And you're fine, yeah? Like for all intents and purposes, you're fine. But there were some strange things, like he was driving and he almost hit someone. I'm like, "Hey, babe, then it's like, oh, I think my mind was far.
Yes.
So, the pressures of life, and you don't think too much into it. Fast forward, 1 p.m., we are standing outside somewhere, outside our office, and he's looking at each and every one of us like he's never seen us before. That began a journey of 10 days of trying to figure out what is happening, what is wrong with him, and 10 days of things moving from 0 to 100. So I think day 5 is when I realized, this thing is serious, because we've been in hospital for 5 days. There's no test we haven't done, yet we still haven't figured out what's happening. And we are moving from 0 to 100 every minute. Like, you come today, you're not speaking. Tomorrow, we are not familiar. The next day, there was always something happening. But even then, you have that false hope for, maybe tu ni kitu kidogo yenye tutajua, alafu utakuwa fiti.
Yeah.
So I think that's maybe the realization for me hit day 5, but now sunk in day 38 when he was discharged from hospital. And it began a very different life for me.
Are you able to share what the diagnosis was?
Yes. So he had, on day 10 is when they discovered that he had TB of the brain, and coupled with meningitis.
Okay.
Yeah. And I remember, one of the things I remember the neurosurgeon saying was, a normal person, actively their brain is at 15. This guy is at 9. His pupils were so dilated. And his brain, like his head looked like it was starting to swell. And that began a journey that completely changed my life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And for you, Viona?
I guess mine, being a caregiver, started later in life, but the realization that this will be my responsibility started very young. So my mom has always been sick since she was a young lady in college. That's when she got her diagnosis. And then she got married. I came before the marriage. And then she had my brother and another brother. So when I think I'll never forget, I was in class 4 or 5. We used to do scout in school. So when she's in a manic episode, schizophrenia causes you to have manic episodes when you don't have to take medication. She came to school after lunch. We were doing our Girl Guide scouts, those things that we do. She came to school, she was manic, and she was screaming and shouting. I think after that, they started closing the school gate after kids come in the morning. So she was manic, she was shouting, she was screaming. And then everyone was like, Mama Viona, Mama Viona, Mama Viona. So in my head, I'm like, she has a husband, quote unquote ex-husband. She has family. She has brothers and sisters. She has people around her, but she's in the streets, walking, shouting, screaming, collecting papers and all these things. So in my head, it started thinking very young that I will have to take my mom out of the streets. I will have to take care of her because it seems no one else is. But that started a whole long journey until I was 23 is when I decided now, put myself aside first and handle this, because then she had been hospitalized for almost 2 years without being discharged or anything like that. Because if you don't take medication regularly, there is always that you can go back, relapse. So I just decided, okay, fine, let me take her. And that's when we started.
So that has been what? That has been 14 years.
Yeah, it will be 14 years this year.
Of being a caregiver?
Yes.
Oh, wow. It is quite It is quite a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ruby, it's been there was the 10 days before the diagnosis.
Yeah.
And then there's the 38 days when he's finally discharged from the hospital. So after you get home, now you're home. You're home, and it's in the morning. What was a typical day like for you
Okay.
in that role?
So for context, by the time he was being discharged, he couldn't walk. And he would speak, but very minimally. So for that particular reason, he wasn't able to come back home because we lived on 3rd floor and he could not go upstairs. So he went to live with his mom. So a typical day for me was waking up in the morning, going to work. Note this time, my daughter is 6 months. Now even breastfeeding it's no longer working because there's no milk. So I would go to work, leave work slightly earlier. So where I used to work, they gave me at least an opportunity to leave slightly earlier. Then drive all the way to across town to Eastlands to see him, to just spend some time to interact with that time he used to do physio. So now he's starting physio. To speak to the physio guy, find out what he's supposed to eat. Is he eating? Just, get time to even just kind of bond. And then drive all the way back to Wayakiwe, where I used to stay, to now go check on the kids and make sure everything is working well. And then, have 2 minutes to yourself before you fall asleep. And then get ready for tomorrow. And even the falling asleep, to be honest, after those days of being called every other night, today you're called, its kidneys are failing. So now we need to do dialysis. You need to give consent because of being a next of kin. Tomorrow you're called, you need to come in early. Something else has happened. Like, things were moving so fast. I think I slept well maybe after 3 months. Like, that day where you just crash and you actually sleep. Yeah. And then there was so much anxiety, you can barely sleep.
I can imagine.
Yeah, like your mind is just rolling. What's going to happen now? What's happening now? Has he eaten? Has he slept? Is he okay? Is everything okay? Who's going to call me next?
Wow. So for you, Viona, because you're still in it, it's 14 years later. You're still your brother's and your mom's caregiver. What does a typical day look like for you?
My day starts at 5:45. Prepare my daughter for school. By then, my brother gets up. My mom gets up. So it's breakfast. For my brother, he takes medication in the morning. You have to make sure he takes his medication. After now that he's older, his health is a bit shaky. So we are adding supplements and herbs to that. So make sure all of that is prepared. And then my daughter goes off to school. And then now that I have someone now who helps me during the day so that I can at least leave and get some work done. So I have a small shop where I do my crochet work. So when she gets in and starts taking care of them, I can step out and go and start work. But then I have to be back by 6 when she leaves. And then I take over now, medication at 7, food, and then off to sleep. So that's my life. And then every month we have to go for a doctor's visit. Clinic, my mom gets an injection and a change of medication. You have to fill the prescription. That's my life.
And you mentioned that you have a daughter.
Yes.
And every morning you have to prepare her to go to school. And I've seen her on TikTok. She's a beautiful, beautiful girl.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, motherhood is already quite a load. Like, motherhood is racy.
Yes.
It has its challenges. It's a lot of work.
Yes.
So I'm trying to imagine how do you manage being a mother and creating time for your daughter while still caring for the other 2 people in your life?
I would sit here and lie.
Yeah.
I have it all figured out. I have a schedule or nothing. A day at a time. A lot of prayer. I do have a very supportive friend when I am like really going through a hard time. She has a daughter almost my daughter's age. Takes her with her. They spend the time together. So she's become like my community. So, but I try my best. That's the best I can do. And I think also I started therapy last year. That's one thing it's been hammered into me.
Yes.
Do your best. You can't give everything.
That's true.
Because if you give everything and you're not there, then what?
Yeah.
So you give what you can. So I know I don't give them everything they need, but I think I give them the best I can for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your best is good enough.
Yes.
It's good enough.
Yeah,
it's
it is.
good enough.
It has to be.
Yes.
Otherwise, you'll just drain yourself out of everything, and then
That's very true. That's very true. So Ruby, for you, I don't know how long you were a caregiver.
Actively, I want to say 2 years, and then now slowly everything now began to work out, and his health began to improve. So to the point now we were almost at par.
Good.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming for the 2 years that you were together, you still had a career.
Yes.
You still had a career. And you had to still go to work. And I can't imagine how that was like for you, especially the first maybe 3-4, the first 6 months of that journey. So how was it balancing work and being a caregiver?
So
And still being a mom to
Yeah.
a 6-month-old.
and a 3-year-old.
Yeah, and a 3-year-old.
So first, balance is an overrated word. There's nothing like balance. You, at any given point, if you're lifting this, you're dropping this. So you really have to also just agree with yourself that you're truly giving the best that you can. So one of the things that I remember is now with time, he was able to move back home.
Yeah.
Now, home, I want to say that people do not appreciate how children can help you heal. That noise, that laughter, that somebody tugging at you really can bring your brain back to life. It's a powerful, powerful thing. So in that season, yes, I have to go to work. I think I was very lucky because of the fact that I had mentioned we used to work in a mother company. At least even the bosses, everybody who used to work with used to know me and know him, which then means there's a level of understanding about what's happening and what has changed and how we can try and accommodate you. But that being said, it can only last for a certain amount of time. And then, the cycle has to get back.
Yeah.
So I want to be honest and say for the first maybe couple of months, it was autopilot, to be honest. You are just doing what you can when you have to. You wake up, you go to work, and you hope it's working out, and you do what you can, and then you come back. But one other thing I want to say is with everybody you meet, everybody asks, how is he doing? How is the patient? How is he recovering? Every single person will ask that question. And very few, if any, will ask you, how are you doing? Yeah. And one of the things that I remember that would keep me up at night is the doctor had said when he was discharged, if you ever see projectile vomit, so what had happened is he got a shunt that now drains fluid from his brain somewhere to his stomach. So the thing was, if you ever see projectile vomit, know that that's an indication that something is seriously wrong. Judy, I used to dream about vomit. I used to call my nanny to ask about vomit. I used to call the guy who used to stay with him to ask about vomit because now I couldn't imagine a world where if he vomits, I'm like, any life here to image change kabisa. So that was a trauma that I carried with me. I would even seeing someone vomiting until today just gives me the creeps. Even my children, I'm like, is it projectile vomit or it's just this is just normal vomit? Yeah. But now trying it back into work, there was a season of autopilot where I would go and, you show up and thank God that the brain is a good tool. It gives solutions and you work. But at the back of your mind, there's something lagging. The way when you have a small baby, you're always calling, amekula, amelala, ameoga, analia. It was kind of the same thing, but now pro max because now I'm calling about him and I'm also calling about the kids. And then somewhere in the middle there, I had my nanny who takes care of the kids, and then we had to get a caregiver because some of those roles she couldn't do, and we had to get a man who's a caregiver. Let me tell you, Judy, dunia inakupiganga character development. You go somewhere, you're told this is a trained professional. And then they come and smoke weed in your house that has a 3-year-old, a 6-month-old, an ill person, and you're just like, sasa izi ni gani? Now you can imagine the fear of nitadu. So I had to, sometimes I'd call my dad, please come and help me release this person because I don't know what the reaction is going to be and I don't know what to do. I think before we got a settled caregiver man, we had gone through almost 10 guys. And don't forget, as we're going through this, this is a young man. So me, I was intentional about not being a woman because I know him and I know what his boundaries are. But now there's voices from family members, from relatives, from those aunties. Wajua tu. And it's a lot of pressure. Everybody has an opinion and you're there wondering, I'm just but a young girl. I think I was 29, I was 29. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know how to make this decision. So, at work you go and everyone is like, oh, tell me where we're at with this and this and this. Then you come back home and now you're like, okay, now you tell me where we are at with this and this and this. And
that. So, I like that you mentioned at the beginning there was a bit of flexibility from your workplace in
Yeah.
general, but then you also say that just goes. It's only lasts for it's just
A certain amount of
period
time.
of,
Yeah.
of time. Isn't from everything that I have heard about caregiving, I know that it does take a toll on your mental health.
Yeah.
For sure, like because you're taking care of yourself, you're taking care of your family. Then there's this other person who's a family member, yes, but they need special attention. So I like that Fiona mentioned she started therapy last year, and therapy is one way of dealing with is taking care of your mental health.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering for you, Ruby, what did you do during that
Judy.
time? Because najua ulisema ilikuwa autopilot.
So ilitoka autopilot.
Yeah.
Haya. And I began to see, so let me paint the picture. Yeah. So when you come home, so because it was a 2-bedroomed house, he could only sleep in our bedroom by himself. So I was sleeping with the kids, the nanny on one bedroom. So now the caregiver, we had to put a mattress pale chini hapo kwa sitting room. Yeah. So you come from work and you give everything you can, and then it gets somewhere and you begin to wonder, how did this become my life? There's no personal space. Like there's nothing. Hakuna kitu unaweza fanya. Like, so I got to a place, I started to get resentful and I didn't want to go home. So what would I do? I'd holler at my colleagues. So of course it started with a Friday. So me just know every Friday I was hanging out somewhere. And that was my outlet then. Yeah. And if we have a drink or 2 or 5 or 7, great, because that just keeps my mind at bay for that particular moment. So I started on that cycle for every weekend ni sherehe. Kidogo kidogo nikaanza kuona ni kama tumefika Thursday pia ni weekend, so tunaweza enda for 2 alafu niende home. Kidogo kidogo tukafika Wednesday. Then someone who loves me, thank God for them, and is a close friend and a family member told me sasa ni kama naona kuna kitu hapa tuna need kurekebisha. So for me, I was very close to becoming an alcoholic, and this is something that I don't think I've shared out a lot, but I was very close, and I got to the point where my tolerance was really good. So I would take whatever I need to take, go home, sleep 2 hours, shower, and I'll be at work fresh like nothing happened, because that's the only way I thought I knew that I could cope. But luckily, thank God for the person who pointed it out, because then it was there on the table, this huge elephant, and now we have to deal with it. And slowly I said to go for therapy. And again, let me remind you, you're dealing with caregiver costs, your costs, children costs, all those things. And now include now that you need to go and see a therapist. It's another cost on top. Yeah. So you're stretched constantly, even financially. It feels like everything is just not working out how you had envisioned it. And then, of course, and my employer that time, I really, really applaud them, because they tried as much as they could to extend the most grace. But then, of course, it gets to a time where now you're surviving on one income. And these things still must happen. He must take his medication. He must go to see the neuro, I think, every once a month. And they're not cheap. We must make sure that everything is running smoothly in the house.
Kids have to eat. They need to go to school.
Exactly. Sometimes I even wonder where that money for alcohol was coming from. I don't even know. Yeah, maybe ni venye watu usema pesa za pombe hazikosangi. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So for Fiona, in addition, I don't know if in addition to therapy, there's anything else that
my
do
work,
to just-
my crochet work. Crochet started as my therapist saying, find an activity that will take your mind off what is happening. So it so happened at the time, my daughter and her friends had started some crochet club, just something small, just plus. So I bought her Uzi at Naivas and the hook. So one time she was in school and I thought, okay, fine, let me just see what this is. So I went on YouTube, saw a tutorial, and it just blew up into whatever it is right now. So it's more of a therapeutic activity as much as it's an income generating activity at the moment. Yeah.
What would you say you wish people would understand better about the weight of being a caregiver?
One thing I think that you should never, ever tell anyone who is a caregiver, please don't tell them they're a strong person. That is, you might think that you're trying to encourage them, but you're adding pressure. Because now they feel like just because Judy has said I'm a strong person, now I cannot let her down.
cannot
So I have
show
to pick it up. I have to look like my face is strong. I have to look like everything is fine. But inside, you're dying every single minute. Like any strength that could have been there is no longer there. Like you're tagging on weakness like this. You're hugging your weakness and you're like, oh my God, I don't have anything else left to give. So I know that when people say it, they say it with good intention. But please don't tell someone that they're a strong woman or they're a strong man. Just appreciate what they're doing, but don't use the word strong. So actually, I think for me, the time it hit home was one of the people who's closest to me, my longtime friend. I call her my sister Nice. She told me, no, Shiro, you don't have to be strong. And I didn't realize it at that moment. But when I got home that day and I sat with myself, I was like, oh my God, I don't have to. See, must. I can tell people I'm tired. Because, you know, there's a guilt, yeah? You're like, now what will people say? What do you mean umechoka? Umechoka, so juu umechoka, nani atafanya? Mtu afanye nini? Umechoka, unataka to do nini? So you're there saying, imagine I can't get tired. I have to be strong for my children. I have to be strong for him. I have to be strong for the public and the expectation that they have concerning the role that they think I'm playing. So for me, I'd say definitely don't call someone a strong person. Number 2, please be present. Because for me, I appreciate how my family was really, really present. Those were some of the things that kept me sane. Like even on the days, you know, sometimes people will call and you're like, niko sawa. They would tell, no, uyo hayuko sawa.
Hayuko sawa,
Send someone. Let someone go and see how everything is working out. Also, the being present, if that person who was close to me who noticed that I was leaning onto alcoholism didn't say it, then I would have just continued spiraling. And the truth is, when you tell people, come, I buy you a drink, they're more than happy to come. Hakuna mtu ati kwa hiyo sitting atakushow, by the way, nika unakunywa sana. Atakuwa tu like, fun times, no problem. Yeah. And then finally, please create space. Create space for them. Whether you'll just come and sit with me in silence, or you'll come and hug me, or you'll just come and say, kama ni hizi vyombo wacha tuoshe pamoja. Whatever it is, create space. Because most of the times I feel like because of the heaviness of caregiving, you won't ask for help. You might have the intent and you might know that, yes, I should ask for help. But you kind of feel like this is an obligation that you have and sometimes it also feels like nobody really can understand it. So you just end up like locking in. Like if I could give an example, I remember a scenario where he got to a place where he couldn't swallow. And so he had to get a feeding pipe. Now, when he got the feeding pipe, it's here in your stomach. It has a sensitive thing that you have to clean and you have to blend food now and then inject. Na ile injection inaka kama zile zilikuanga niseme hivi za kitambo za ng'ombe. So unaweka food hapo, then unafungua kwa kitu, then una press. So unaona hiyo si kitu ati utaambia msee kama unifanyie hii part. Uwezi ni sensitive na iko na vitu na pia unataka bado kupreserve dignity ya huyo msee, utaki kumu-expose pia kwa vitu zingine na bado kuna infections and all those other things. But imagine there are spaces that you can do. There, you know, you can come and say, today I'm gonna make you dinner. You guys just sit, I'll make dinner. Or today, let me pick this caregiver, let me just take her for a drive, or let me take her to a spa. Let her get a massage. Make sure that you're creating space for caregivers because man, your cousin ni mob. Na mimi sitajiambia. Juu kweli nikikaa hapo nikifanya budget, nitafikiria juu ya dawa, nitafikiria juu ya watoi, nitafikiria juu ya yeye, maybe cause kama sasa nakumbuka he used to do physio every 3 days. So unaona huyo msee akikuja ana come home. Lazima umlipe fare yake, alafu umlipe expertise yake. So unaona hizo hesabu ukifanya, hautabaki ati na any money yenye utasema ati sasa nisaenda kujitreat hata time yenyewe. So you have to pull them away intentionally, take them away, do something that can help them just to help their mind relax, help their mind calm down, remind them that they can build energy, fill their cup so that they can go back and continue with the mandate that they have to carry.
Viona, do you have that community around you? People who are filling your cup?
A few. Not, you're lucky that you have your family. Mine is a bit of a mess, but I do have a few people around me. And as she said, that thing of, for a long time, I thought, I've taken this responsibility, I have to be strong. I have to show the world I am strong. Until 2020 when my ex-partner left and I almost committed suicide. Actually was on the verge of it. And I remember that, I'll never forget that night. I took their medication and I just wanted it to stop. It was because I had built it in myself. Why am I being weak? I have to now be a sole parent to my daughter, but I have to keep going. I have to show the world that, you know what, let's keep going. But it's later on when now I met my best friend. She is the one who told me, stop pretending you're strong. Stop pretending you know it all. You don't. And she's the one who actually encouraged me to start talking. I don't know what I'm talking about, but maybe it's something. So I just started talking and showcasing and breaking down, and it was a lot of things that I was releasing. And I think I'm still releasing, because it's traumatic in itself. There's a lot of trauma. Like, I don't know, if you're saying projectile vomit, there's some sounds if I hear, I know that's my brother getting an aggressive fit, or that's my mom almost relapsing. So those sounds, they trigger you, and that affects your mental health. So there is always that aspect of be strong, vumilia, you've got, no, you do not. You do not. And I think I have that space where I can call her and say, Leo, I am breaking, I am just, and she will give me that a space just to express that. But the world expects you to handle it. That's why people ask more about the patients or the people being given care to, and not the person giving care. So being intentional, as she said, being intentional in asking the person giving care, how are you? And mostly we are blank. You don't know how to answer that person, because you don't even take that moment to think about yourself. Because, like, I remember your assistant asking, do you want to go back the same day? I'm like, yes, I have to, because I do have those responsibilities. Tomorrow, my caregiver is not there. She's SDA, so I'll be the one in charge the whole day. So you have to prioritize other people before you bring in yourself.
I want to add, just so that I don't miss the point. When you ask them how they are, don't take I'm okay. Don't ask ati ile. You know the way you ask formally, how are you, Judy? And tell me you're okay, tukisonga. Go a step further and ask them, how are you really? Because most of the times if you ask me, because I told you, Judy, you're already on autopilot. So if you ask, I'll just say I'm okay. But if you probe a little bit further, then you will get to know this person is not okay. They're not anywhere near okay.
And for Fiona, you've talked about the community that you have and your best friend being one of those people. I'm curious, because you've been sharing quite a bit about your journey on TikTok. Would you say that TikTok, your followers on TikTok have become part of that community?
I have people who are, like today in the morning, I was rushing so that my daughter left, then I left. So I go get a matatu and then go to town, get the matatu from here. I just have somewhere, Sasa Fiona. I'm like, I'm like, hi. So she messaged me on TikTok. So when I got on the matatu to Nairobi, I saw her message. Hi, I'm teacher so-and-so from this school, and I just saw you and I thought I'd say hi and have a good day. That fills me with joy, because for a long time, I don't know if it was the case for you, you feel unseen, and nobody wants to be unseen. Nobody wants to be forgotten. We all have some value in this world. So I always say, I know social media has a bad rep, but it's also saving a lot of lives, especially TikTok. TikTok has both good sides and bad sides. I think I've landed, thank God, in the good side of TikTok, where there's a lot of encouragement, a lot of support, a lot of information, a lot of people who just, today I just want to say, hi, have a good day, God bless you. That fills you with, you're not forgotten. Because if you ask a lot, like I have a lady, she's somewhere in Bungoma and she's taking care of her mom. I guess all her siblings are doing good. So yeye ndo amedelegatiwa as the caregiver of the mom and sort of forgotten. She's sharing with me the story. The last time she made her hair was, I think, 2023. Everybody brings resources to the mom, but nobody remembers her. But because she has, yeye ndo anaonekana like the poor one in the family, she feels some type of way about herself. She's been forgotten. Nobody asks what is going to be her future or anything. Everybody just focuses on the mom. So you feel forgotten. That is a plight. I think that's why I talk, because I don't want to be forgotten. It might sound vain, but nobody wants to be forgotten, Judy. Nobody wants to be forgotten.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know they have some value in this world. But in caregiving, you're so engrossed in this person that you forget yourself. And it just, if you forget yourself, if you don't tell, sometimes people, everybody has their things.
Yeah.
So if you don't tell this person, like, hey, I'm still here. So I think that's what TikTok has given me. Just a platform to say, hey, I'm still here. This is my life and this is what I do.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, because I've been going through the comment section on your TikTok page, and people love you. Like, people love you. People send so many messages of encouragement and whatnot. And I was like, it's so amazing that in an era where there's a lot of social media that you don't like, there's still this other side that is so beautiful to experience.
You see, you could paint a picture of, that's what we do mostly. There's been a debate on TikTok of late about content that appears perfect is draining people. The perfect home, the perfect what? Is your house always perfect, Judy? Or when you're shooting is when your house is perfect?
That is when I look for the right angle.
Exactly.
And I confirm.
Exactly.
Hakuna pillow
Like
imekaa
we
vibaya.
moved hivi,
Hakuna
kapilo
kakikombe
kakaa hivi.
kanaonekana.
But normally, how is your house?
A mess.
Exactly.
Yes.
And more people want that. They want that touch of authenticity. And I was scared of sharing that for a long time until a lady told me, you need to stop curating your life. We know it is not like that. We know there are days you cry yourself to sleep. We know there are days with your brother there's aggression and there's the things you have to, because you have to take care of him, brush his teeth, clip his nails, wipe him and things like that. He tries to do himself, but you have to now go in with hygiene and take it to a different level. So we need you just to be you and stop curating. We know it's not perfect. So I was scared of like not being picture perfect for social media. You know, you also want to be accepted. You just don't want to look a mess. But I've come to realize being open and honest and authentic is just like the key to just having people genuinely love you and understand you. Trying to curate a perfect life will not get you anywhere because no one is perfect.
That's so true.
And then there's the impact of the coming generation. The thing they're suffering from the most is trying to be perfect. The perfect hair, the perfect body, the perfect this, the perfect that. But having a touch of being authentic, it shows the imperfection. There is no perfection in this world.
That's true. That's so
Everyone goes through something.
God.
Like for her,
that is so
it
true.
happened overnight.
Yes.
For me, I saw it coming a long time. For her, it happened overnight. But you could sit and pretend, no, you are not. Life isn't like that. And we have to always remind ourselves, even as we're trying to reach the perfect house, the perfect this, the perfect that, no, that is not true life.
It's not.
It is messy. It is chaotic. It is stressful.
Kweli kabisa. And that's when I feel like you're talking to us. Us people who have, like are following on social media.
But I like you guys show, especially the conversations with Mumbus, you actually encouraged me to start having very open and honest conversations with my daughter. Because like right now we are talking about boys.
Yes.
Mom, huyu alininyang'anya pencil alafu ananichekelea alafu kai, oh my god, you have those conversations. But you see, in us we were traumatized at certain age. Wacha kuongea na boys. But for her, she has friends who are boys and mixed emotions and all these things. So what you are doing is foster, actually it's very important, and I hope you realize that. You're fostering honest and open conversations that we millennials never had. Mimi sikuwa yongeleshwa na mtu. Hata sex nilijulia shule. When it comes to pads, we were taught by always. They used to bring the pads in schools.
That's true.
Me, I was living with my stepdad. Nani angenifunza kuhusu kuvaa pads or anything like that. So what you are doing is showing authentic parenting. we don't want to pretend that it's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
These kids, hey, what did we do that our parents would actually fall apart if they realized?
yeah.
But if we bring them closer, they might have a better understanding of men and women than we did.
That's true. That's true. And actually, that was the whole. I say that's why I exist
Yes.
as a content creator on my platforms. Like, if these are the only things that I get to do, these conversations with my daughter are the only things I ever get to do in this life.
Yes.
Then I, by the time I'm in my 70s, 80s, I will say I have lived a full life. And I did exactly what I was meant to do on this earth. Yes.
And imagine they matter. So I think we're watching one with my son. The one I think Baba Mumbus did. I don't remember the title, but with Mumbus. And he said something that I found very interesting. It's like, no, Mom, I really like it that parents can now have conversations with their children. And he was like, you know what? I want to ask you something. And he went ahead and asked me something. I don't want to say it here, but just to preserve, because he asked it in private. But it sparked something amazing in me because I'm like, sometimes you might create content and not realize the depth to which it goes. Sometimes maybe our kids might feel Mom is not as open. But as we are watching, they're like, wait a minute. Actually, if Mombos can ask, even me, I'll just ask you. Whether maybe I can ask
my mom, my dad.
And or if she can ask her dad, she can ask her mom. Let me try. Worst case scenario, nitajulia nikiwa hapo. And when he asked, I found that so interesting because I'm like, sometimes we do things without thinking. Even when I was putting the episode, I didn't think of his perspective of watching me. I was like, oh, let me watch. Then he's like, oh, Mom, what are you watching? Oh, let me come and watch. And those are the small things that we are gonna do in the small communities or spaces that we are in that will help us grow our relationships with our children and also remove those experiences that we had when we were children that are completely different from the young people that we are raising today. We sat in a class in my son's school and they were talking about LGBTQ. And let me tell you, the way we think ati hizi watoto wetu hawawezi jua they were being asked questions and the answers they were giving that day, by the way, I went home with my son. I told him, from today, we will discuss everything. Sasa nimeweka kila kitu hapa kwa meza to discuss. Because you realize they know. And I said to ask myself, because Miss Jai discussed na story alijulia wapi. And I'm like, am I ready for the world to teach my son these things, or should I be the one taking up space? And I told him from today, any question you have, please bring it to me. Ita deal, ita bidi. And I went and did research and I said tutakuwa tukiongelelea hizi vitu because taki mse mwingine akupatie content. Wacha mimi nikupatie content and then I start to build from there.
Exactly. And even by the time they're going out there and hearing it from their friends, but they heard it from you first.
Exactly.
They already know the right path to take and the other path that you need to know. Yes.
And you won't be misled.
You'll always be their safe space. Like with my daughter, even when I'm overwhelmed and all that, I make it a point of asking, how's school? Umecheza na nani leo? Because she's still a baby. Umecheza nani leo? Teacher amesema nini leo? So the other day I came home, I was tired, and then I was, when you're going through your menses, your body is just everywhere. So I didn't ask her. She came and asked, Mom, leo hujaniuliza nimeshinda aje? Hujaniuliza teacher amesema nini? So you see, you are fostering a new conversation in her head, and she's taking it up like, Mom is my safe space. So I will sit down and have a conversation. Mwambie hii na hii. Of course, they don't tell us everything, but at least they will always know, Mom's got me, Dad's got me, and that's important.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that feedback. It was so good. So that's the reason why we do this.
Maybe we will not comment or say all the time, but we do.
But thank you so much. So, as we wind up this conversation, I'm sitting here looking at the two of you, and I'm wondering, what has caregiving taught you about love, about something like your resilience, and even your own limits? Because sometimes as human beings, we don't truly understand our limits. A good example would be ile time niko hapo kwa gym na trainer anaongeza weight, ananiambia hapana, unaweza sukuma, anamwambia hapana, but anaongeza na unasukuma, you're like, oh, okay, and the next day unaongeza, una realize, okay, kumbe I can do this thing. So in the space of caregiving, what has that taught you about your own limits?
First of all, let me just say that what we describe as love can be very different to very many people. And I'll give a good example. I remember the seasons when he was very sick and just getting into the first year especially, there were very many opinions from people who, I want to say respectfully, you think love you, and others who probably don't even care about you, but they still feel they need to share their opinions. And one of the opinions I got from a significant majority was, you're a young girl, leave the guy.
Oh.
And you're like, na huku mnafikirianga aje? Hiyo ni solution gani hiyo mnapeana? Like, and what is it based off?
Yes.
Like, is it that when things become hard, you should always run? Is that like the preconception that we have? And one of the things, I mean, we stayed on for another 6 years, but unfortunately the relationship didn't work. But I don't think it has anything to do with that. He was well and able by the time, we were going our separate ways.
Yeah.
But I've never reconciled with that stem. It's always been something that I've carried with me because I've never understood, does it mean that you love someone only when they're well? And immediately that status changes, you should run and never look back. That thing has always really bugged me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's unforeseen. That person has no control and neither do you. Yeah. And I believe if you do something, do it with the right intent and do it intentionally. So for me, love is kindness. It's consideration. It's intentional, and it works whether things are good or whether they are bad. So if you're sitting somewhere and thinking the day something hits the fan, you're out, then imagine, I don't know, I think there's need to reconsider. And so I've learned to open myself up to be loved. I like the way she said you want to be seen. For a very long time, I felt like I was the only person. You know, the way you watch TV and it looks like you're focused on one person. And I felt like my life was the one that was stuck and everybody else was moving on. I remember I would see couples and it would bug me. Yani huyu tu anatembea na mpoa wake. Hata hajui that mtu anaweza kuwa mgonjwa na maisha ibadilike kabisa. And because of that thing of people not asking how you are, you begin to think that they don't care. So you begin to think that even you, why should you care so much about yourself? If people don't care, what makes you so special?
Yeah.
And you go down a rabbit hole, yeah? And I remember I stopped dressing up the way I used to. I stopped showing up for friendship things because it always felt like there's always that spotlight. And over and above the spotlight, mtu atarudia kuulize, by the way, anaendeleaje with a smile on their face. Alafu wewe ubaki tu hapo kusema yako poa, kila kitu iko fit, aliponanga, alipona. And then that is it. And you want to ask them, gosh, you don't want to ask me na mimi? As in, is that something that's ringing through your mind? And most of the times, unfortunately, it's not.
Yeah.
In terms of resilience, I think for me after that, I think I can conquer the world. And maybe next time we'll talk a little bit more about, but 2 years later, I lost my job. Now we moved from 2 incomes to 1 income to no income with 2 children, a caregiver and all those things. And so for me to sit here today, I'm a testament that God is present. He is so able. And imagine, life will always throw punches, but you have to find a way to just fall if you need to for a few minutes or a few days, then pick yourself up and run. And the beauty about it is, I don't think life was meant to be lived alone. So please don't live alone.
Yeah.
If you find that community, whether there are 2 or there are 10. In fact, I'm like, she's so lucky. Imagine a community in TikTok. And I'm like, wow, and you don't have to see them every day, but you know that they're there. You hear them. Yes. And one of the things that I started by saying is I'm an encourager. The reason I'm an encourager is because I know people are always going through stuff. Exactly. So I'm the chick who will send you a random message. And sometimes, as I'm praying, God will tell me, send Judy this message. And I'm like, Judy doesn't know me like that. So nataka nianze kumtumia hizi message ashindwe hizi ni gani, but you like send the message. So I'm those people who I will send random messages to random people on instruction because I know. I don't need to know that you're going through something. Yes. And I also know that you can come and look and smile with us, but inside something is going on. Yeah. Something that also could be in an environment where there's so much shame that you can't talk about it. So sorry, Judy, just to shift a little bit, I remember one of the things that he would go through is he couldn't remember some people. And some people would say that it's me who is propagating unikumbuke mimi na usikukumbuke wewe.
Really?
Sasa hao watu wenye walikuwa nasema vitu kama hizo, I would wonder, do these people know
Yeah.
the work it's taken? Forget even the caregiving, even the random things that we would do, like we would have to sometimes take a matatu and I go explaining, hapa ni Uthiru, hapa ni Kangemi, hapa ni Westlands. And I did that more than 20 times so that it could build capacity in his brain to begin to find those places to be familiar.
Yeah.
Because I was so afraid the day you go alone, what's going to happen? Are you going to be robbed? Will someone try to steal from you? Will you know where you are? Will you get lost? And who is the person who's responsible for you? It's me.
Yeah.
So the same way I would teach my son, I have to teach you. But people don't understand how much more work you have to do than the normal to be able to get this person, to just be able to familiarize themselves, to be able to speak again, to be confident again, to remember those things that he needs to remember, and even the ones he can't remember. Imagine it's just his brain that had to go through an adjustment, and that's the reality of life. So it's taught me to also give people space and chances. I am that person, and even my colleagues know, and they always know I'm the gratitude babe at work. And I will also ask you, how are you? If you come to work and your eyes are puffy, me, I'll come and I'll be like, wacha nikuulize, uko aje? And you don't need to explain what's happening, but just know, if you need the space, I am here. Yeah. Or if you need someone to just go and sit with lunch at and talk about everything else other than the thing, it's also fine. But it's been built out of that. It's been built out of feeling alone, feeling not seen, feeling not heard, feeling like everybody else's life is moving and yours is just at a standstill.
Yes. So when it comes to being strong, I was told to say, I have isolated myself for a long time, but I was told to say, I am single and ready to mingle. But to be honest, it's easier said than done, because at the same time, it means this is also another person who needs a piece of me.
That's true.
Which I already have so divided. So not unless he might be understanding enough to know, like, every now and then I'll need a prop, because I'm also, I'm trying. So in my head, which I'm trying to work on, I don't think I am capable of finding someone like that. And I know that's a bad thing, but I just try to be honest with myself. I don't know if I'll ever find somebody who will be willing to uptake this, because this is not something that's going to end. Luckily for you, he came, he was better, and now he's living his life. For me, this is a forever thing until the day God says, okay, now we can move forward. So in my head, I'm always like, I think this will be mine forever. But my therapist has been like, apana, we have to change this mindset, we have to change this perspective. But that's the whole thing about being strong. You kid yourself that you can only do this yourself, and no one else in the world will ever understand. So one thing I love about my TikTok is I came to realize a lot of people can understand. It was all in my head. And you start building relationships that can help. You start realizing it might not be romantic, it's friendship, it's community, it's support. So those relationships help you in your journey not to be the strongest person on the world, because you're not. You're not. I think that for me has been the biggest understanding. I can't do it all. I can do a lot. I can carry a lot, but there's a limit. So if I am feeling today like I can't do this anymore, I know I'll say, I need support here. I need help here. This is happening. Like, it got into a point with Joseph. He's getting older, and I can see his health is not the best. So he's been having aggressive episodes and all that. And hence when I had the crisis of trying to figure out, do I get a home for him? Are there homes in Kenya? There are no homes. The institutions I'm getting are charging 150,000 to 200,000 every 3 months. So all these things you come to realize you cannot handle all of them. So even for them, I know I have my limits, and I'm trying to figure it all out. So when it comes to strength, even for work, even for what, you can't handle it all, I'm sorry.
That's true.
There is nothing like being the strongest person ever. You can't. So you need to give yourself grace. My friend keeps saying you need to learn to give yourself grace, which is something I haven't done for a long time. You need to learn to give yourself grace. To say, like, like for a moment before, I would have sat here in my uncomfort and not said I need a moment, and just because I don't want to disrupt. But you have to say, I need a moment, I need a break, I need a breather, I need to move, I need to do this, I need to go here. Me coming from Nakuru to Nairobi is also therapeutic for me, because it gives me a moment just to myself. I can come from here, nikimbie hapa, I was seeing this thing, nikimbie hapa, like I want to go get some yard and things like that. You see, it helps you live a normal life, because you also still have your life to live, which I think for a long time I thought would never happen for me, because I saw me saying I have my life to live, me saying I would love to meet someone is selfish. Why would I say that when I have two people who are 100% reliant on me? My daughter, in the next 8 years, she'll be an independent queen living her life. I can already see her. But for them, they are there with me throughout. So me saying, hey, I'd love to go on a date, selfish. That is what rings at the back of my mind. For me saying, I would love to go get, like, there's a lady who makes my nails. Ikifika 2 months, Viona, uko happy?
Yes.
Selfish, hapana, hiyo ni pesa ya supplement, hiyo ni pesa ya dawa, hiyo ni pesa ya nini. So you learn to tilt your head kidogo and learn that you are a human being who deserves love, who also needs to be seen. Me, that thing of being seen, because for a long time I felt invisible. So needs to be seen, who needs to live their life. You need to live your life. So when it comes to also resilience, not until you're faced, that is when you will know how resilient you are.
That's true.
I try, people ask how I until you're faced with that crisis. Might not be taking care of a parent. It might, life is unpredictable.
It is. It really is.
It is very, very unpredictable. Nzatoka hapa ugongewe hapa nje and you're in bedridden for the next 1 year. It didn't mean that your mental health was affected or anything like that. It's your physical health. It's your emotional health. Something happens. That is when you will know how resilient you are as a human being.
True.
Yes.
That is so true.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Yeah.
I love how she talks.
Yeah. We could listen to her.
I know.
Oh my goodness. And I think one of the things I celebrate a lot about her is she's known about these things while she's still in that caregiving journey. Because thinking about yourself, you know what you said about being selfish? Oh my goodness, you carry that thing with you. Anything that you see that even remotely looks like it's for you, you red label it selfish and you remove it quickly because you're like, how selfish can you be, Ruby?
Even
Why
coming
would you
here
want
today,
to do
I
that?
would not lie. It was a battle in my head.
Yes,
because it's selfish.
it's very
Why
like
are
you
you
see
causing?
it.
I know.
Yeah.
Selfish.
The fact
Like,
the word
there's a
selfish
lady who-
screams at you. Like
Yes.
you're the most selfish person
There's a lady
ever.
who's gifted me tickets for Ngemi. It is coming, but it is bothering my head because it's like selfish. You're what? But in therapy, that's one thing that has been rammed into my head. Forget yourself and you will die.
Yes.
Forget a plant, it withers and
water
dies.
it does
That is
and
what you're
it will
doing.
die. Yeah.
If we put a plant here, it's an indoor plant, it can survive inside, but there are things it needs to survive even indoors. So if you forget about it, what does it do? It will
dies.
die.
Yeah.
You will die. Yeah, that has been rammed in my head. And I will. My mental health is, I think, improving, but I know there are dark days. There's a time I used to cry every night. Every night alone. I just lock myself because when we share my bedroom with my daughter, and then my mama and my brother share one bedroom. So I just go to the toilet and sit down and cry until I don't have anything left in me, and then go and sleep. Because if I start thinking of myself, if I say nichukue hii mia niende nitengeneze eyebrows na hii mia inaweza tununulia
Yeah.
And just off what you've said, one of the things that I'm so grateful for is the people who held space. And it's so nice that you said that. I had friends who would say, you know what, Ruby, Ati that chick who used to make your nails is where? Go, I will pay. And they will intentionally not send me the money because they know me ukinitumia hiyo pesa nitafanya hesabu ya chakula, dawa and yeah, because nails na huku vitu zinasambaratika. Wacha tu. So I'm so grateful for those people who held space. So if you're there thinking, what can you do? Pay for that nail appointment, pay for that massage, pay for a shopping voucher for outfits, because you'll never buy yourself clothes. Utanunua nguo saa ngapi na una need kufanya hizi vitu zingine zote na bills nenda. Ama hata yeye mwenye, I remember thinking I need to buy him clothes because I need him to look presentable. I don't want people to now think nilimwachanisha ni kama nilisa juu alikuwa mgonjwa, ni kama neglect. So you neglect yourself and you're always focused on that. So creating space, do such things, figure out if you maybe come and see, I don't have shoes, but you can buy me a pair of shoes, go to the salon and say, make your hair. You can just make your hair. It's okay. Because you forget. And then you're just digging deeper and deeper. And you know what you said about sitting in the toilet? I would do that. I can completely relate. And then especially because kiddos will ask
you,
will bother
you.
Mommy, are you okay?
Know. If you go to the bathroom, okay, bed, the toilet is the one place
the
that
toilet
people
is the
know,
best place.
Don't bother. So that was the best place to break down. Like, for example, I think last Sunday I was invited for crossover. It is a church event. It's gospel. Mi nimezoea kuvaa malongi because the easiest thing to do. So in my head I'm like, sasa, I remember speaking with Susan. I'm like, sasa watu wanavanga nini? Because my wardrobe is full of pants. The easiest thing to wear is a pant and go. So I had to go and look for a dress, at least a presentable dress. And in my head, at the back, there's that guy, selfish. It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah.
In our circle, we actually have someone who's currently a caregiver to a loved one.
Yeah.
And there's so many things you're saying. I'm like, oh my God, I've been guilty. Like, I feel like I have been that person who's been saying, hey, now when I'm strong. Hey, now when
So Judy, okay, I would say don't feel guilty.
Yeah.
And the reason I would say don't feel guilty is because you didn't know. And I even for those people who asked me, I don't carry anything against them because they were coming from a good place, but they didn't know how to do it. So don't feel guilty, but now moving forward, do it differently. And I just wanted to add this thing about caregiving, it doesn't leave you. So recently, one of my grandma got sick. And you know the way you go to hospital and we're trying to decide what are you going to do. And remember my first reaction was missing next of kin. So they're all wondering, and it triggered immediately. Like the minute I saw forms being signed, I was like, I'm never going to sign a form for anybody. Musiwai niweka next of kin, staki. And I said to remember, the way you're called at night, you're told this, or you're being told, this surgery is 50-50. He could live or die. Excuse me? And then me, you're the one who wants me to sign that paper and then forever hold whatever the outcome is.
Happened.
Like, those things are triggering. So even for people who are caregivers, healing is not linear. Don't think that now because maybe, like now for Vuna, it's different because she's still in it. But maybe if the season ended, don't feel like it's linear. You will go somewhere and someone will ask something and you'll be triggered. You will hear a noise as she said and you'll be triggered.
Simple
you
noises.
will walk into a room. Like I remember for the longest time, I never used to go to hospitals. Because for the longest time I went to Mpisha hadi, kila mtu ananijua. Washia ananijua, ule demana clean ananijua. Nenda tu nikiwasalimia asa ni aje hadi nafika place. Ruby, umekam. Anaendelea aje. Unasema tu, kopoa. Anapona, tuko sawa. So there are going to be so many triggers that you're going to find. And sometimes, maybe because of putting it at the back of your head, you might think everything is fine. But even when they come, it's okay. Just walk through them. If you're in therapy, discuss them in therapy. If you need a moment, it's okay to tell the person close to you, I'm not able to come for the hospital visit today because I just can't. As in the things that are happening with all that is happening within this space, I can't. And it's okay. It's fine. It's healing. And healing is difficult. And healing is not overnight. And healing might take us the next 10 years.
Yeah. And there's always, like for me, a lot of people have encouraged me to go into the medical field. Based with my experience, I could do professional caregiving or nursing. But me and anything to do with taking care of anyone, inaishia hapa. I can't. I admitted that to myself wholeheartedly. If I continue in this, mtaniokota mahali. I can't, imeishia hapa. Maybe if, but I don't want to think, maybe if here, this is a much I can give. I will give them until the day, but this is it with me and care. Here.
Yeah, me actually pray. Mi naambianga God. Nilifanya hii story once. Mi Mungu sidhani niko na capacity ya kuifanya tena. Niliifanya na ukanipea grace throughout that season. But where I sit, I don't think I have capacity. I don't think I can do repeat. Mi sidhani naeza. I don't know that I can. Because there are still some parts that are so broken that we are still trying to figure out. How do you fix them? Yeah. So I mean, and you know, in that journey somewhere, I found God somewhere there in the middle. And let me tell you, Maina, hey, Una, you go through it. But I'm forever grateful for everybody who prayed for me, who extended their hand in any way or form, and even the ones who felt I should have left. It's okay. Maybe you were thinking through it depending on, you know, what your lens was. But I'm very grateful for everybody who did whatever they could just to extend some grace. Today I sit here and I extend grace to myself. Maybe because I'm unapologetically extending grace. Even when I do, I do stuff and I'm like, why would you do something like that, surely? Then I remind myself, imagine mistakes are made, you learn and you move. So extend grace to yourself. Fill your cup. Me these days I'm not afraid. I'll go and sit somewhere and have, now I'm a cup of tea person or a coffee person. I will have my cup of tea and enjoy, and I'll just be like, this is my own time. In fact, that's the season where I learned how to spend time with myself. Before that, I would never have sat in a restaurant by myself to do what? What do I need to do with myself? I want to hang out with people. These days I will leave my house, go sit for me time with my journal, write stuff, or just go and just look outside and just see. I'll go for a trip alone because I've understood that you have to create space for yourself. And you have to learn, actually you get to a point where you now start to love yourself, because I feel like you lose that somewhere along the way, and you it's like you're reintroducing Ruby to herself. And now you're starting to say, okay, so who is Ruby again? What does she like? What's she interested in?
I love everything I'm hearing. Yeah, and sitting here, I'm like, wow. If not for anything, for myself, I have learned quite a bit today. And he's completely healed.
So I want to say 80%. So because of how much his optical nerve had been suppressed, he lost a bit of his left eyesight. He can only see figures, but other than that, he's fine. He walks, he talks, his coordination is fine. Like, he can do absolutely anything, other than, of course, now something that will require both of his eyes.
Okay, that's good to hear. And we thank God.
We really do.
Really thank God.
It wasn't an easy place to get out of.
I can imagine. So for that person who's watching us today and listening to this conversation, and they just found themselves in that space of being a caregiver, like it's just happening, it's very new. What is the one thing you'd love to tell them?
Being on autopilot, I don't know if it was like that for you. You forget how to breathe. You completely because it's you're just up and down doing this, handling that, handling this, handling that. You need a moment to breathe. Ata kama you'll give yourself 30 minutes, lock yourself somewhere, and I know it is hard to say. I struggle from that, but you need a moment to breathe. Ata kama it's 10-15 minutes. Breathe. It helps your mental health. It helps your physical health, because you find there's a huge relation between being a caregiver and some of these chronic illnesses, because your body is forgotten. It deteriorates. How you feel does affect your health. So you need a moment for yourself to breathe. Me coming here today, as much as in the back of my mind there's something knowing, like, I am here to breathe. I must breathe. If I don't breathe, I will fall and I will die. And then what happens to them? Even amidst that crisis, we are told in the middle of a hurricane, there's a small place which is very calm. Why? You need that. A moment just for yourself. Breathe. Yeah.
I like that. Breathe.
I think for me, I'll say it's speak, ask. Please speak. I know it feels like, what can you even say? It feels like you're trapped. It feels like you're just alone, but speak. And one of the things I usually share, if you're a caregiver and you need a random stranger to talk to, reach out to Ruby.
Yes.
I'll sit there with you and listen. We can do a phone call, we can do whatever, because I know how it feels to not, you have so much you want to say, but you just don't know who you can say it to or how you can say it. And even if we're gonna sit and you cry the whole 1 hour, it's okay. That's a space for you to speak. You might not be saying the words, but you're speaking.
Yeah.
And then ask. You don't have to do everything yourself. I know it looks that way. It sometimes seems that way.
Yeah.
And also consider that even the community, and you know the way Judy, you gave an example of your friend, maybe even her, she's wondering, or he's wondering, how do I ask you guys?
Yeah.
So ask, number one, ask. Hata kama utaambia Judy kuja upike tu sapa. Hata usifanye kitu ingine. Welcome to upike sapa, ask. Because even the people who are around you who love you, they are wondering how they can support. But they don't know. So ask them. Ask if you can come and make dinner. Ask them, maybe can you just come and sit with them for 30 minutes? I just want to go for a walk. Ask, today I just want to go to Nairobi, for example, like Fiona did, and I need you to just come in and sit in and help me with ABCD. Ask for help. As difficult as it seems, ask for help.
Wow. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.
Wow, that was quite a conversation. Thank you so much. Thank you for spending the afternoon with me. Thank you for pouring into us, because I feel like for anybody who's in that space, this conversation will do something good for them. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for sharing some very good words of encouragement. I feel like even if, like, for this conversation is for anyone who's going through something in life. It does not matter what it is. This conversation is for all of us. Na kila mtu tumesema, kila mtu anakuanga na kitu.
Oh, yes.
There's something. Life is always throwing us punches. So thank you so very much. But before we go, Fiona, tunataka kununua crochet products.
Okay.
Tunazinunua wapi?
I have my TikTok and I have my Instagram. I brought you something. I don't know if we...
Yes.
Yes. So on my TikTok, I crochet so many things. Hats, blankets. Blankets have been such a hit with so many people. So I brought you something.
Oh, thank you. Oh my God, can I unbox?
Yes, you can.
Unboxing right here now.
Yes. It's not a lot, but it's something cute for when you go for, I know you travel a lot.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So you can find my work on my TikTok, on my Instagram, on my Facebook. Mostly I'm very active on TikTok.
Yes.
So I crochet blankets, clothes, bags, anything you'd like. Just let me know.
And then it is that season. We're entering that season where we need warm blankets,
we need
warm
blankets, everything.
Ah,
So
good.
please bring me a lot of business.
Yes.
It helps.
Tunaanza
So,
hapa.
yes.
Tunaanza hapa.
Na order yangu nikimaliza hapa.
I'm so happy. But yeah, you guys, people on TikTok are the one who taught me everything I need to know about crochet.
Really?
When I started, I posted just something I had done. And then this group of ladies came together and they taught me stitches, taught me where to get the best yarn, how to check with what I need, how to market my products.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
Last year, July.
Shout out to them.
Yes.
Those
So
are
they
some
taught me how to
good people.
do your tightening, do this, do that, and it has become something.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes,
All right. So please check the description box. I will link everything hapo. Yeah. Fiona, if you need to go check it out, please go support and ununue kitu
Thank
tafadhali.
you.
Yeah. And for Ruby.
I mean, over and above, I said I'm a marketer, and I
Yes.
serve at Centonomy. But over and above that, as I said, I'm an encourager. So anyone who would like to reach out if you're going through something and you just need someone to talk to. And by the way, it's not hogwash. By the way, reach out. We will find a way to communicate and talk. Over and above that, I really am passionate about EQ. So I do some EQ trainings for small businesses. So if that's something you want to do with your team members, let me know. And I'm happy to just come in and, we hang out and we see what your team can do. So I'll do EQ you. We'll do personal branding for your team, and we'll also just help them to communicate better. And we'll also just create a space for you to be able to know when people are not right. Have you ever been to workplaces where mtu hata mnapatana na mtu mnapitana hivi kwa corridor hata hujui lakini huja notice anything about them until maybe mtu mwingine ya point out. One of the things I think we need to extend space, especially in our workplaces, is to just check on people, because you're working with people. Yes, it's a job, and yes, we must hit our targets and we must deliver excellence, but we also must find out how is the human being doing. How is that human being doing?
I don't know if you saw that TikTok of a lady. They work in a big corporate office somewhere in the US. Do you know she died on her desk and we discovered the second day?
The second day?
Yes. They left, came back, she was still there. Left the third day is when people are realizing, oh my goodness. Yes.
That is so sad.
Yes.
That is really, really sad.
Because there is that attachment between the human being and the worker.
Oh my goodness.
You must, like now when Phil was seated here, I was watching the previous conversation. He said something about listening intently because he's an employer who wants to create the best environment for his staff.
There we go.
Intentional of bringing the human and the worker together. But what capitalism and the old industrial age was, it's removed completely.
Detach completely.
Umekata mkono, job over, bring in somebody else to replace. And move on quickly. So we have to bring back the human and the worker. That emotional connection is very important.
That's true.
Yeah,
I agree.
Wow. I feel like
Maybe
you need to come back.
Kule tuko Instagram, Ruby Kenyan writer.
Yes,
Come, let's have amazing conversations.
Awesome. All right. Ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Man,
Judy.
I feel like I would want you guys to come back again.
Call us, tutakuja tena.
Tukuange tu tunabonganga tu.
Tunapiga tu story tu.
Tunaongeanga tu wa story hapa.
Happy
But thank
to.
you so much. May God bless you. I wish you a safe trip back home.
Yes.
Please say hi to Joseph.
I will.
Please say hi to your mom.
I will.
Please say hi to the kiddos. When
I
you get
will.
home. Say hi
I
to the
definitely
partner.
will.
Yeah, wasalimie sana. Yes,
Thank you.
guys. And until next time, it's bye from us. Bye. 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 Oh, wow.